The key clicked softly in the lock, and I pushed the apartment door open, stepping inside. The grocery bags in my hands were heavy, their plastic handles biting into my palms, yet I hardly noticed. I'd left work early, my mind buzzing with unease, distracted, restless. The apartment was quiet except for the low hum of the refrigerator and the faint sounds of the city outside. I set the bags on the kitchen counter, the thud of cans and boxes echoing lightly through the room. As I began unpacking, a faint noise caught my attention. It was a soft, rhythmic sound, like muffled voices, coming from down the hall. My heart skipped. It was coming from Daniel's room. Daniel, my stepson. Being home wasn't unusual, but the tone of the sound. There was something different, something I couldn't quite place. Curiosity mixed with dread as I hesitated in the hallway, a box of pasta still in my hands. My steps were soft against the hardwood, each one drawing me closer to the source. When I reached Daniel's door, the sounds grew clearer, low voices, urgent and hesitant. My palms sweated, my chest tight. I shouldn't go in. I knew I shouldn't, but some strange, unexplainable pull guided me forward. My hand hovered over the doorknob, trembling, before slowly turning it. The door creaked open, and I froze. The room was dim, the curtains drawn, soft lights spilling across the floor. Daniel and Mia were together on the bed, close, intimate, but not in a way I could describe in detail. The air felt heavy with tension. Daniel's eyes met mine, wide and shocked. Mia's cheeks flushed as she pulled the blanket over herself. "Oh my God," I whispered, my voice barely audible. I didn't mean to." I couldn't finish. My face burned as I backed out of the room and slammed the door shut behind me. My heart pounded violently in my chest as I leaned against the kitchen counter, trying to process what I had just seen. I felt guilty for invading their privacy. And yet there was something else, a strange, confusing tension I couldn't name. I poured myself a glass of water, gulping it down, trying to calm my nerves. What was I supposed to do now? Pretend it didn't happen? Talk to them? My mind spun. I busied myself with putting away groceries, but the memory clung to me like a shadow. Their voices, the expressions, the closeness, all replayed in my mind. I heard footsteps in the hallway, froze, then relaxed as they moved past the kitchen toward the bathroom. For now, I was alone. I returned to cooking, stirring the pasta sauce, the smell of garlic and tomatoes filling the room. The sound of the bedroom door opening made my hand freeze mid-stir. Daniel and Mia emerged, faces still slightly flushed, eyes avoiding mine. "Hey," Daniel said softly, tentative. "Dinner's almost ready?" I replied, forcing a smile. They lingered awkwardly before heading to the table. The silence stretched, long and heavy. As we ate, conversation was hesitant at first, clumsy, brief mentions of work, weather, and mundane topics. Yet underneath, the tension lingered, electric and unspoken. After a few minutes, Daniel spoke, breaking the ice. "Did you hear about the storm coming this weekend?" I nodded, caught off guard by the shift in topic. Mia added a small laugh, and, slowly, the atmosphere lightened. Conversation started flowing. Movies, funny stories, small teasing. The awkwardness of the afternoon faded slightly, though an unspoken understanding hung in the air. What had happened earlier wasn't forgotten. Later, while cleaning up, I found myself in the living room with the book I had discovered earlier, a guide on intimacy I'd bought years ago. I left it on the coffee table, its cover discreet. It was a small gesture, but I felt a strange pull in doing so. I told myself it was innocent, just guidance. When Daniel picked it up later, my heart skipped. He looked at me, expression unreadable. "Is this yours?" "Yes," I said calmly, keeping my voice steady. "Found it while cleaning. Thought it might be interesting." He studied me for a long moment, then shrugged, flipping through it. "Maybe you could give us advice." My stomach lurched. I hadn't expected that, but a spark of curiosity flared. "Could I guide them?" "Okay," I said finally, my voice steady despite the nerves. "I'll help." The following days were strange, full of tension, discovery, and emotions I couldn't fully name. Daniel and Mia were more attentive, cautious, yet eager to learn. Our interactions carried a charged energy, playful and intimate. but carefully restrained. I stayed composed, offering advice without overstepping, keeping things suggestive but never explicit. There were moments, fleeting touches, intense glances, laughter shared over private jokes where boundaries blurred. The tension simmered, a mix of curiosity, attraction, and the thrill of the forbidden. I could feel it in the way they looked at me, in the way I noticed little gestures, subtle and electric. We found a rhythm. Mia brought balance with her calm presence. Daniel's confidence and energy drew me in, and I, a mix of guilt, excitement, and curiosity, navigated the delicate line between mentorship, guidance, and the complicated feelings brewing beneath the surface. One evening, the three of us shared a quiet moment in the living room. Words weren't needed, the atmosphere spoke for itself. I realized how much had changed since that day I'd stumbled upon them. We were closer, more attuned to each other, emotionally connected in ways that defied explanation. I care about both of you, I whispered, uncertain, my voice barely audible. Mia smiled softly, fingers brushing mine. We care about you too, Daniel nodded, a quiet intensity in his eyes. Yes, it was a turning point, unspoken, yet clear. We had crossed an invisible line, one that would forever change the way we There were risks, consequences, and complexities, but the connection was undeniable. The following weeks were a delicate dance of emotions, laughter, late-night conversations, playful teasing, and subtle gestures that carried meaning beyond words. It was intense, confusing, and exhilarating, but always we maintained boundaries. Nothing was fully explicit. Everything was suggested, hinted at, electric with tension. Through it all, we discovered a deeper connection, intimacy without the need for full exposure, trust without total surrender. It was a complicated, unconventional dynamic, but one that brought us closer in unexpected ways. And though the future remained uncertain, the bond we'd formed was undeniable. We didn't have all the answers. We didn't fully understand the consequences, but we had each other, navigating an emotional, suspenseful, and charged journey that none of us had anticipated. For now, we lived in the quiet tension of what was, the excitement of what could be, and the understanding that our lives had changed forever.